Cheryl, how are you?
Yeah, very well. Very well. Yeah, a frantic well, but well anyway.
Yes, I appreciate you fitting this kind of sound interview into your busy schedule, as I appreciate myself for doing it. It was one of those days today, I haven't even got to my things to do list yet.
Yep, yep, I hear you. I knew you'd have the same sort of day. But I met someone yesterday who was interested in my type of theatre, and she had a real hard work just getting to me yesterday. But then she said something to me that was like, oh, that's true. She was like, there's things that fill your energy cup up, and there's things that deplete it.
Yeah.
And I thought, "Do you know what? I'm going to embrace the whole of my day because I'll be working till 9 tonight with I'm doing everything that fills my cup up, including talking to you. So, yeah, even though it's full, it's like, oh no, actually, that's a really nice way to look at it. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? And there's that old saying, if you're busy, meditate for half an hour a day. If you're really busy, meditate for an hour a day.
That is so true. I did do a 5 minutes just now because I was like, oh yeah, like you, I haven't got to the to-do list, but yeah, that's right. I shall try and do that at the end of my day, I think.
Beautiful, beautiful indeed. Well, I've just lit in a little bit of the old smudge there, and it's yeah, some lovely natural incense here. Aphrodite,
Oh,
Star Child, Star Child from Glastonbury, lovely. And you picked a card, didn't you? So maybe you can just tell
yes.
the kind of sounders about that.
Yeah, so it's from the Ancient Stones deck, which I love because, yeah, Rebecca Campbell, but also I thought was very relevant for me and you as we're ley line lovers and sacred sites. And I actually got this the other day, but um, yeah, very relevant for both of us. But sure, anyone that's listening is probably in this phase. Pave your own way, leadership, courage, forge, don't follow. And I've had this message again and again and again because I've been trying to work out how to do what I do. And I've been trying to look out there and go, is anyone doing it? Is anyone doing it? And I often get the message, no, but that was the point. You came
Yeah.
in, you big ancient soul, with all this old wisdom. So don't try and get the wisdom from the current world.
Mm.
Get it from your ancient lineage and then try and make it. And I think that's what we all have to do. Like, get it from the ancient wisdom, our old souls, and then make it applicable today. And that's going to take quite a bit of, because we know that the leadership currently is wrong. So, what are we going to do about it? No more false leaders. All lead in our own way, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So that's a
No,
good
one,
card.
yeah. No, I think you're right. A guy a guy, I mean, we'll send healing to him because he's going through a bit of a healing journey. But he told me once, he said, Giles, the cavalry aren't coming. He said, we are the ones.
Yeah.
You don't be thinking that it's coming on a silver cloud and it's all going to be all right. Like no, we gotta step up. We gotta do our work. We gotta shine our light. We gotta be the love
Mm.
and forge that way. So in terms of forging the way, I mean, kind of sounders that will have heard our interviews before will know a little bit about you. But let's just say someone's coming into this for the first time, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Just give us a little introduction to yourself and your work.
Yeah. So I primarily am a theatre maker and a soul guide. And they mix together because I bring soul stories home and back to life. So I'm really into, our eternal nature and what we're truly doing here. And I think there's a lot of buried history. So my theatre is about bringing that, like, who are we? Where do we come from? And what happened on the way? And with that, I call myself a spiritual activist, a soul activist, because I do feel like the soul's been harmed, the earth's been harmed, blah, blah, blah. So for me, it's very important to really shine a light on that today because the next generation and the next generation, the next generation after that are going to need to hold on to something. And so I'm hoping to leave a legacy behind, and I'm going to hope to do that in theatre and storytelling and through all the healing work that I do. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Beautiful. And it's 5dtheatre.co.uk.
Yes.
It shows beautiful work. That's the number five and then the letter D. 5D as in 5D. Just tell the kind of sounders what how do you see 5D? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so it is fifth dimensional. And the reason that I chose 5D, because I had a back and forth about it, about, whether I was capping us because we're multi-dimensional
Yep,
and
yep, yep.
this is only one level. But I particularly work a lot in the astral realm. So some of my work as a healer will be clearing off entities facing very, I'm not just a love and light healer. I'm in with all the levels. And so a lot of my work yeah, is in the fourth dimension. But I feel like I've got a bit of a template with the divine to go, do you know what? I'm going to raise as many people, including myself, including my family, including everyone I touch, into the fifth dimension. And whilst I think we all have access to much higher, and if you have access to that, great. But I've found that staying there in the 12th dimension or just connected in with divine, for me, isn't really the purpose on the planet right now. We've got to go, oh, at this time there's a lot of stuff to have a look at. And so I just wanted to make sure that people were available to something a bit more advanced, but also able to face the dark of the planet and go, okay, not on our watch,
Yeah.
not anymore. So that's
Yeah, I
why I
think
chose
it's
rugby.
an interesting one, isn't it? It's sort of being able to face it, but then do something about it. And not just doing something about it just by oh you were just telling people about it. So we've had an interesting solstice and we're going to get into the solstice.
Yeah.
And I was at the Sacred Earth Gathering, Crops Not Shops, where these amazing people are growing food. You know, they're growing loads of food. They're half of it they sell for the project, half of it they're giving away to poor people. It's very
Wow.
high consciousness energy. And there was a talk that went on, and it was kind of looking at the darkness, but the final slide that was left on the screen, which was there for about 25 minutes as the speaker took questions, was very negative.
Oh,
And the talk was meant to be about overcoming this, right? And I will suggest to the speaker, not sort of want to name them here, but I will suggest to the speaker, for your end slide, why don't you have a nice picture of a rose from your
mm,
garden, and
yeah.
then you can finish a bit like David Icke. You know, he might give you 6 hours, but then that end bit is always
Yeah.
you've got the power. The infinite love is within you. That is all that exists. You know, it always finished on that. These are the solutions.
Yeah.
And rather than just, you know, like you say, we've got to face it, but then what are we going to do about it? So, Cheryl, what are we going to do about it?
That's so interesting because it's making me think about mentoring spiritual storytellers and writers. And everyone was like, this is what's going on. And you have to have your conflict and your drama. So you have to have these dark moments in storytelling. But there's a classic saying that if you're going to go into dystopian worlds, you've got to present the alternative somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it's so true. What are we going to do about it? Well, see, I think it's quite simple ish. But I believe there's a very dark, harmful force on the universe. But there has to be the opposite. And so I never do any of my work without being anchored in with the divine, knowing that the divine, Holy Spirit, sits really well with me. So I'm going to name it that, is on my side and also on everybody's,
Yep.
and much stronger force than anything.
Yep.
So going with that into the
Yep.
dark, I'm like, you can't touch me
Yep.
because it's a lie that we've been sold that any
Yep.
other thing's stronger. So you have to, I don't believe you can do truth, the spiritual work without an awareness of what's gone wrong, because I see people skip over that. But without a really deep connection with divine or spirit, it will take you down.
Yeah.
And that's still a lie because we have the divine on our side. So whenever I need to, I just strengthen my cultivation, go, oh my God, I'm supported. And the
Yeah.
second thing to say with that is that the divine element of the angelic kingdom, I call it angelic because that's where I train, but to me it's a frequency, will not step in and help you without consent. Consent is the most important thing on our planet. And people not giving consent or abusing consent is part of the problem.
Mm.
But a spiritual law is you have to give consent. So I always make sure when I'm finding things tough, am I asking?
Yeah,
Because the divine would never step in and go, I'm just going to do what's right for you, because that's breaking consent. And I
yeah,
think everybody knows you should not break consent with anyone in
mm,
any relationship. You should be a yes and an asking to receive. And so sometimes, sounds strange, but sometimes I forget to go, can I have a bit more support? And
mm,
I've never asked for it and it hasn't come.
yeah,
So that's the faith that I have. It's like it won't come as you expect it, but it will come.
yeah, for sure. So just off air, I was just remarking on you, the beautiful environment that you're in.
Yeah.
And
It is nice.
indeed I've upgraded as well in my little space here, because when I'd be recording these these interviews for various projects, my backdrop was a bit chaotic. It was a bit like all over the place because I'm just in my little office here. So ask for help, and indeed I had. So just a big shout out to our good friend Maxine, who spent 4 hours with me. She was working for 4 hours, and I was working for 4 hours, just feng shuiing, just re-energizing this space, my little office space here. And it's now like a machine in that even when I'm not here, it's operational.
Wow.
It's sending out this harmonic energy of wealth and abundance and family and well-being and inspiration and mentors and children, all these things like that are
Yeah.
around me. It's just doing its job.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. And that reminded me, I want to say a big thank you to you because you sent your book. Big shout out to your book about manifestation and how quickly you manifested and brought that forward. The day I arrived to move in to do some painting work for my house, it arrived on the doorstep. And then I read it back and forth as I was coming to clear the house, which felt beautiful energy about manifestation. And I loved it because you talked about it and then you touched on some problems with which a lot of people don't do in the how you manifest. You
Yeah.
touched on, how things could get distorted and it just when I read it, I felt your wisdom of how many years this stuff has been working on you. So yeah, thank you for that. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed that book.
Yeah, nice one. Thank you. Yeah, available, ladies and gentlemen, worldhealingproject.com. The mechanics of manifestation. What can I say? So you've manifested this place that you're in. You're back in London,
Yeah,
and just maybe just for some, you know, if someone moves somewhere, so the process that you went through, or maybe what other people could do to help
yeah.
bring about, that resonance, that soul resonance with the space.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm currently spending time between London and Luton. So I'm caring for my mum. So there's a lot going on. But I felt like I needed a place, a space to get my head together. And then this place came up. I live in co-op housing, which means you get placed in places, which meant for some reason I got placed in a horrible energetic place. I was like, Spirit's got my back. What? Why
Yeah,
would you do that to
yeah,
me?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it was horrible. The walls were yellow. The guy that lived here before was a smoker. And also, I moved into somewhere where the guy who lived here before died. And he died quite traumatically and quite painfully. And I say that because I felt the energy.
Yeah.
I cared for my dad. He died quite harshly and moved into the place there in Luton and felt like this is chaos, trauma energy. So I'm quite adept at clearing and making the energy lighter. And I would say, like, even if you're in a home already or moving into a home, like you can feel the energy of it and this place felt awful. So the first thing I did, which I do on any land, on any theatre project and a home is say, can I live here? So I asked the guy that had passed away, am I welcome in your home?
Mm.
And because I'm psychic, so see the energy of someone, I speak to people on the other side, and he cried. And
Wow.
he said, I'm so surprised you asked that.
Wow.
Like, yes, you're welcome. And I said to him, thank you, but I don't want to live with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't want to move into a place that it's your place and you don't want to move out.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, okay, but he didn't want to move on. So I also helped move. So I was on. And I thought, okay, I've got the permission. Then what happened? I didn't have the money to do it up. I was a bit like, I'm going to take it. It doesn't feel right. But Spirit's got my back. Within one evening, an angel investor gave me the money to rekit the whole place out. Thank you so much to her. She is an earth angel.
Mm.
So it was all kitted out, brand new, painted it, gave it loads of love. Then I did the real work that I can do, which was energy clearing. I do it through prayer, through any entity, any release. I believe we're on a powerful ley line in West London. It's not that talked about, but there's a lot of chaos energy. So I was trying to balance the ley lines. And then I came home one night, and the guy that used to live here, I didn't know it was him at first, that had passed on, got into my bed and started to breathe on my neck, which freaked me out entirely.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh my God, it's because I work with dark. I was like, it's a demon, it's a demon. And then I went, calm down.
Yeah,
I went, it's not. I felt the energy of that person.
yeah,
I thought, oh, it's him. And I
yeah,
said, do you want to go to the light now? And he
yeah.
went, yeah. And then I passed him up. And then from that moment, I felt him just come back to say hello. And he's really helped me grow the place. A bit like you were saying, that even when I'm here or not, there's an energy of growth, of prosperity, of
Mm.
abundance. I can't wait to get home here. I cannot wait. Like, it's the first place I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, don't make me too busy because I go away a lot on jobs and stuff.
Yeah,
And I see in Luton a lot. And I'm like, I can't wait to get home because it's so peaceful here and so abundant. And so, yeah, that was my experience of moving in. Probably not everybody's, but
yeah, yeah. No,
yeah,
some definite tips. And if you are moving in somewhere, or you do need a bit of help and support on that level, get in contact with Cheryl through the website, and she'll be able to assist you in these. In because it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like these other realms, if you
yeah,
like, and it's probably just as well that not everyone can perceive them because they go loopy loo, wouldn't they? If all of a sudden the veil was listed, they'd be like, "Whoa," you know what I mean?
yeah,
So that awakening is I think by grace is gradual, and sometimes when people it happens suddenly, the Kundalini awakening happens suddenly. There's a lot of people in psychiatric institutions just because they've had a
yeah.
had an awakening and the doctors don't understand it. Let's talk solstice. What were you doing at the solstice?
Yeah, so I had the absolute joy, and this was another land that I spoke to saying, is my theatre welcome here? And then out of nowhere, over the last year, Luton, where I'm from and where I keep going back to, where I was born and half based, decided to make a Luton henge. So there's Wallard's Bank in Luton, which is the most sacred site. It's got a huge ley line. It's by the River Lee, which runs into London. And it's to do with King Lud. There's a big history of arts and culture and everything. It feels so right to find out about all this stuff. And I went up and did some healing on the ley line a while ago. And then suddenly I connected with someone and said, oh, we're doing a Luton Henge project here, Revolution Arts, who are an amazing company down in Luton. And they also brought about the rave culture. Yeah, it's such an interesting
Yeah,
culture back in Luton.
yeah,
Anyway, they were doing all these walks. They commissioned an artist, and he was like, do you know what? We should have a henge. We should build the henge. And so, interestingly, summer solstice was the first arrival of it.
yeah,
And so I went in summer solstice and I walked through the stones that they'd put up as a community. And I went, I could cry. This feels
yeah,
like a homecoming because I'm so sick of going to sacred lands and you're kept out.
yeah, yeah.
You're like, I remember walking with you going, I love this because we're walking on the lands together.
Mhm.
And someone said, yeah, we created this for the people of the place, not about anyone dominating or controlling it or any kind of heritage fund going, well, we'll teach you about the place. Get on the land, and learn it yourself. And as soon as I walked into the circle, I met this crystal healer in Luton that was like, "Oh, I live down the road." And she came back last night and she was planting her crystals around. And I was like, "Oh my God, you're right on my doorstep." And so I'm drumming there next month on the official opening, doing some shamanic drumming, but also, yeah, I hope to bring some theatre there. I hope to bring some land workers there and get into the space because this site is meant to be more ancient than Glastonbury, and that's in Luton where I'm from. So it just
Yeah.
feels like and now I understand why I was born there. Yeah.
Beautiful. What a beautiful story. And you know, the medicine man Stephen Ash, when I was talking to him recently, he said, you know, it's wonderful if you can go to these sacred sites and these power centers. He says, but everywhere is a sacred site.
Yeah.
Everywhere is connected. He said, so if you're walking, if you can't walk actually on the main alignment, don't worry. He says, just go 100 meters, half a mile, just walk it. So,
Wow.
you know, and just because you're connected to it, because
Yeah.
you always connected to it, and it's a beautiful thing.
And
Yeah,
your
I mean, you know, hook me
solstice.
up with this site, and
Yeah.
we'll come and do some singing there. We'll do bring
I
the
feel
perpetual
like you need
choirs
to
there.
be there. Yeah, for sure. I think I felt that. I was like, well, you're coming down and we'll, yeah, for sure, for sure. Because they've approached the site not in a healing capacity, but they're very interested. Like,
Mm.
you know, I've been chatting with them all and they're very interested about what I'm bringing. But it's also like, and there's an archaeologist explaining the area, but I'm like, there's a missing puzzle piece of like the work that you do and what I'm passionate about bringing that in, and they're very open to that. So I thought, yeah, we need to sort that out.
It's very exciting. Do you know what one of the people that I met at the Sacred Earth gathering was Matthew, the guy that walked the Belinus line, the spine of Albion, from the Isle of Wight all the way up to Scotland, and we'd been following his journey, and it had led him on to it had led us onto this interviewing people, you know, like yourself, who walk the ley lines, who celebrate the ley lines, you know, sing the ley lines, drum the ley lines. And thanks to your hookup with the ley line down people, that just led to a massive rabbit hole. Because once I interviewed one of them,
Yeah,
they then got in touch with someone else, and then they'd email me and go, "Oh, we'd like to talk about what we're doing," and then it just blah, 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 blah.
yeah.
And Matthew, bless him, because he sent a few voice notes when he was doing this walk, you know, we put on KindaSound. And then whenever I'd interview someone, I'd say, oh, this guy, Matthew Liam Gardner, he's walking the spine of Albion, you know, he's walking to Scotland on these ley lines. And we'd talk about him. And then when I saw him, oh, I'd listened to the show when I was walking. Because
Wow.
he just, what's he going to do? He's just got to walk a lot every day. And he gets up to Scotland. He gets up to Bonnie, Scotland, and there's these people playing the old bagpipes to him. You know, he just crosses the border, and he's rubbing his knee, hurt his knee. He's rubbing his knee for like nearly the whole time. 40 minutes they're playing to him. You're like welcoming into Scotland with the bagpipes, and he's rubbing his knee, and he's quite a he's quite a big guy. And I thought, I don't know how he's going to do it. You know,
Right.
because it's one thing to walk through southern Britain, but then when you're going into, you know, you're going into Scotland, right? Anyway, did it. And I said, how did you do it? He goes, well, mate, he goes, there was a bit of magic. And because he had such determination,
Yeah,
spirit, spirit healed him
yeah, yeah,
and enabled him to do it. And he wanted to bring about a cultural renaissance of people getting onto the land and walking these ancient pathways. And he thought, well, what's the best way to do it? Just do it myself. Tell other people about it. Make his little film about it. Do some interviews about it. And then,
wow,
you know, it goes from there, doesn't it? And then we're still talking. We're talking about it now. It's
yeah,
inspiring you. It's
yeah,
inspiring
yeah,
me. Hopefully, the listeners,
yeah,
the viewers out there, are going to think, yeah, okay, all right.
yeah,
So what are the benefits of that? What can I get out of it? I tell you what, it's a pathway to heaven.
yeah. And you, you're crazy. You sing a long time. Because would you, so you were at Shine, weren't you, for over the summer solstice?
Yeah, well, we were part of the Shine crew. Yeah, part of the Shine crew in the at the Sacred Earth gathering, and we. we like to be here for the solstice and equinoxes. We want to be in sunny Suffolk, quite frankly. But Eli, the everyman, God bless you, Eli. He said, "Look, come, view of the tour. We can do something." I said, "Well, I'll come if we can do a perpetual choir." And he said, "Of course you can do a perpetual choir." So we started at sunset, actually a little bit before. He'd scheduled us at 9, and sunset wasn't till 9:30. So I gave the little intro talk, what's the perpetual choirs and all this, and then 9:30 we started. But we're in. I thought I'd been promised a marquee, but it was like one of these structures that had open sides, which was great for the hot day. But when you want
Yeah.
to contain sound, you want to be in a teepee or a yurt or something. You don't want this. So I was starting off, and then people are arriving, to join in, and they're sat so far away. I said, like, come closer, because my voice, do you know what I mean? All acoustic. So anyway, we banged out an hour and a half of like full power
Wow.
music with full volume, but I couldn't continue that all night. I would have destroyed myself.
Yeah.
So then it just became very quiet and very soft. But there was a couple of young lads that we'd met that's from this area, and they'd gone to the event. And I talked to them. I'd gone to get some rest. I thought I need to rest this afternoon to prepare, right? So I'd walk into my tent to rest, and I saw them, and they were like, "Oh, tell us about the perpetual choirs." So I'm spending, 25 minutes giving them the story. But these young boys, it like lit them up. So they came for the first bit, and then they went to Glastonbury tour, and they said there were hundreds of people singing all night
Wow.
on the tour. He said the perpetual choirs is alive, Giles. But I was very softly, om,
Yeah.
om, and then I parked my car up facing where the sunrise was going to be, because I thought I need to be comfortable. I need just to be like insulated, and
Yeah.
just to be able to keep this going. And then it get to about 2 o'clock, and I was just starting to nod, and then I had this and the owls were singing.
Oh my God. You're like,
Oh
okay.
my God. And it kind of it brought me back into consciousness. But I just thought the perpetual choirs is going like the birds are singing.
Yeah.
It's nature's got our back.
Yeah.
And then it got to 3:30, because in Glastonbury, I mean, where we are, the sun was rising at R4. It didn't rise till 5 to 5 in the West Country. So it was a bit of a longer sing. Then we checked the sunrise, when's it
You're
going to
like,
rise
oh
in
my
sunny
God.
Suffolk? And here we go, a bit more. But at 3:30, it just started to get light. So I'd gone through the darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
And then it was just, and then I was just like, picked my energy up, sang till 5 to 5.
Oh my
And,
God.
happy days. But it's one of those things, I've been telling people about the perpetual choirs for 20 years, but what's the best thing? I just got to do it myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got to
Yeah.
sing myself, and on those solstices and equinoxes, we'll have a go. We'll have a go
Yeah.
and tell people about it. And this, I just thought these young boys who've got a bit of, they've got a bit of chi, and they've got a bit of. I thought, yeah, I told them, and then they went to the tour, and and it was.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Sometimes things don't work out how we maybe want them to. I thought the perpetual choirs was going to have started by now in Glastonbury. There'd be the hippies singing all the time. But one day. In the
Yeah.
meantime, keep the faith.
I know, and I want to say, yeah, I did a card reading for myself the other night. I do it around my business and around my life and anything I need to heal. There's a lot of healing going on right now. And I actually was listening to the perpetual choirs while doing some of the reading to get me uh, into balance. And the Ho'oponopono prayer came on, and I was singing along to that. So I think sometimes you don't know the impact, you know, that actually, it was part of my sacred work. And I was like, oh. I need to listen to the perpetual choirs. So I think sometimes we don't see the ripple effect we have
Oh
over
yeah,
different
like
people.
100%. We don't see the ripple effect, and that's just what I'd say to everyone out there listening. Do keep the faith. Do keep
Mm.
the faith. The world is going through a big transition, and I think right now, our Sing for Peace thing, I think, certain things have got to play out.
Mm.
and they are playing out. But do what you can yourself. Get help. Ask for help.
Yeah, and I will say that in that circle, I thought I was just going to do a reading for me, ended up moving lots of souls on from the war. So that's something I can do to help, like a lot of people, some of the stuff I do is active, and some of the stuff I do is more, as a healer at home. And there was a lot of trapped souls, you've got wars raging out, and it pains me. It's like I can't do enough. And then what came in for me was there's trapped souls in trauma, you can move them on. That's the little thing that you can do. And so I think that leads us back to that pave your own way leadership card, that we are not passive observers to this world. We can take our own action in whatever field we are skilled in, which is different for everyone. My psychic ability has always been very strong. I come into a very psychic family. That's where I'm strongest to do that kind of spiritual work. Someone else might be, they can grow
Yeah,
land, they can,
yeah,
you can sing for hours and bring the energy up then. We can all do something. It's just get in your lane, listen to the divine and do that. And, it felt quite heartbreaking and beautiful work. And I was like, I thought I was going in for a business reading for myself. And then it ended up leading. And I'm sure, the support of the Perpetual Choir's voices helped me raise it's a bit of everything
yeah.
taken from everywhere. So we can do a lot. Um, yeah, it just might surprise you what you're called to do.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Cheryl, on that note, we will leave it for now. And I look forward to seeing you. We're both going to be at the Shine celebration.
Yes,
So do check that out. Kind of Sounders, going to be a great lineup of people there. And I hope to see you soon
yes,
on the land. Let's get
yes,
together and
yeah,
create some magic, create some magical vibes. So I'm just
absolutely.
going to give you that website again, kind of sounders. It is 5dtheatre.co.uk. Do sign up for Cheryl's newsletters as well. I mean, I pride myself on the World Healing Project newsletter. Your newsletters are equally fantastic, I'm going to say. So do sign up and check out the amazing things that Cheryl's up to. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Have a fantastic
Thank you.
day and
Good
see
to
you soon.
see you. Bye bye.